Welcome to the course on microprocessor architecture and assembly programming, week 8, session 1. In this session, students will learn memory management of 80386. In that, we will start with 80386 block diagram, and then we'll see address translation. In 80386, address translation is carried out by two stages. The first stage is segmentation, second stage is paging. Segmentation is mandatory, however, the paging is optional. The material or the diagrams and the text I took from this manual, Intel 80386 Programmer's Reference Manual, which was published in 1986. This is 80386 architectural diagram, where we can see this is paging unit. Before that, there is a segmentation unit. Means this is first stage of address translation. This is second stage of address translation. So first segmentation will be performed, and then the paging will be performed. Once the paging unit is completed, it goes to the bus control unit. The bus control unit is connected to RAM. It transfers instructions or data specified by address from memory into microprocessor through these D0 to D31 lines. So 32 data lines are available over here and 32 address lines are available over here. Other portion of architecture, it's a bus execution unit, that's a ALU, which consists of ALU, the control unit, instruction decode, and instruction prefetcher. So once the instruction is bring into a microprocessor, it will be stored into a 16-byte instruction prefetch queue. Then subsequently it is sent to the instruction decoder. Instruction decoder has a capability to store 3 decoded instructions, and then it is sent to the control unit. Control unit will initiate control signals to the ALU. ALU contains register files, multiply, divide operation, barrel shifter, and adder operation. So till so far what we have discussed, the ALU is a one combined component. Now we can see the ALU has a 3 separate component. The register file, which stores temporary data, which we have seen, register A, B, C, D, those are registered. Now the name is converted as a register file. Then there is a separate multiply and divide operation unit, and there is a separate barrel shifter and adder unit. So let's start with the registers. So there are 3 categories of registers available in 80386. The first category is general data and addresses. The second is segment selector. Third one is instruction pointer and flags. So if you see general data and addresses, this AX, BX, CX and DX, this is similar to 80286. But in case of 80386, 80386 is a 32-bit processor. Means it can perform operation on 32-bit simultaneously. So to support 32-bit operation, the length of register has to be 32-bit register. So the registers we talk in register file is having length of 32 bits. But it is also backward compatible for 16 bits as well as 8 bits. So if the register name is A, so it indicates 8-bit operation. If the register name is AX, it indicates 16-bit operation, and EAX indicates 32-bit operation. So only letter A, B, C, D that indicates 8-bit operation. Later with X as a suffix, that's a 16-bit operation. Later with X as a suffix and E as a prefix, that is 32-bit operation. So this 0 to 31, so 32-bit is identified, it is known as EAX. Similar way, EBX, then ECX, EDX, ESX, EDX, EBX and ESX. The next is a segment selector. The segment selectors, most probably we use these 4 only. We'll talk only 4: code segment, data segment, stack segment and extra segment. So these are known as segment selector. Till so far we were using word segment registers, but now 8036 onwards we will use these segment selectors. What is use of segment selectors? We will see in the subsequent slides. The third category of registers are instruction pointers and flags. Instruction pointer is offset to the process which is executed currently by the microprocessor, and flags is nothing but the status after the operation is performed. So let's start with address translation. 80386 transforms logical address into physical address. So logical address is also known as virtual address. It is carried out in two steps, but before two steps, let's look at the microprocessor point of view. What is view of microprocessor? So this is physical memory, PM, it's a physical memory, and this is virtual memory. So physical memory ranges from 0 to 2 raised to n. This is area of operating system, then it is followed by area of process 2, then this is empty space, then area of process 3, empty space, and then area of process 1. But the microprocessor point of view, microprocessor can execute only one process at a time. One process at a time. And all instruction has to be in sequence. They should not be stored, or the first instruction may be in another segment, second instruction may be in another segment. That is not possible. All the instruction has to be same segment, and all instruction has to be stored in a sequential order. So the microprocessor point of view, this is virtual memory. What it does, it appears that this process 2, address process 2, having a range of 0 to 2 raised to n. So processor can execute only one process at a time. Although the memory stores 3 processes in this example, process 1, process 2, and process 3, but it appears that with respect to microprocessor, it appears that only one process is currently available into memory, and it occupies whole memory 0 to 2 raised to n. That is because of virtual memory. The reason to 0 to 2 raised to n, if any process larger than the available free space, if you want to execute, that is permitted. That's why it requires that it is stored from 0 to 2 raised to n, means whole process is allocated, or it occupies whole memory process. So how can we carry out? So each and every process will have a base address. So let's say base address 100 for process 2, 150 for process 3, and 250 for process 1. So if we divide, normally what happens, the next instruction of process 2 will be stored at 101, the next instruction of process 2 will be stored at 102, and so on. But if we take, this is 101, 102, if we take base address out of it and add with offset. So base address, normally it's address of the first instruction, which is nothing but 100. So base address in this case for the process 2 equal to 100. So we will keep base address in separate registers, and offset value we will start with 0 and up to the end of process, end of code segment. So from microprocessor point of view, it is operated over offset. So offset starts with 0 and end of code segment. End of code segment might be the end of the size of memory, 2 raised to n. So it appears to microprocessor that every processes are occupying whole memory. It starts with 0 and up to 2 raised to n, the maximum size of memory. So that is because of the virtual memory. And virtual memory, because it is we divided address into a base address and offset. Let's continue with our logical address to physical address translation. Logical address to physical address translation in 80386 is divided into two steps. The first step is segment translation, where the logical address is converted into address which is known as linear address. So new terminology come in 80386. Logical address is known to you, linear address is new terminology for you. The second stage is a page translation, where linear address is converted into physical address. So logical address LA is converted into linear address LIA, and linear address is converted into physical address PA. Now logical address to linear address, it is translated by segment translation. And over here it's a paging or page translation. So segment translation is a mechanism, step-by-step procedure which converts logical address into linear address. Same way, page translation or paging is a mechanism or step-by-step procedure to transfer linear address into physical address. These translations are performed in a way that it is not visible to application programmers. Means the application programmer need not to be bothered about all these translation. What they have to bother? The logic of the program. This is pictorial diagram or overview of address translation in 80386 onwards. This is logical address and the last one is physical address. Last slides we have seen logical address to physical address is two-step process. In first step, segment translation is carried out. In second step, page translation is carried out. In between segment translation and page translation, there is address which is known as linear address. Let's look about the size of all these addresses. Logical address, it's a 48-bit. We can see over here 32 bits of offset and 16 bits of selector. It's a 48 bits of logical address. Linear address is 0 to 31, range is 0 to 31, that's why it's a 32-bit address. The same way, physical address 0 to 31 means 32-bit address. So in summary, logical address is 48 bits, linear address is 32-bit, physical address is 32-bit. Logical address is larger or having a larger length than physical address. Because it supports virtualization, its span of memory is higher than the physical address. That's why it has to support higher number of bits. So the selector and offset, both the value goes to segment translation. Segment translation is a step-by-step procedure which converts logical address into linear address, means 48-bit address into 32-bit address. So this is 32-bit address, linear address. Linear address is further divided into three part: directory, page and offset. Depending on the implementation, you may have any number of bits for directory, any number of bits for page, and rest other bits for offset. But between that, in the first slide I discussed that segmentation is mandatory, but this page translation is optional. So if after segment translation, if the paging is enabled, then it goes to page translation, and after page translation we will get physical address. If the paging is not enabled, whatever it gets after segmentation, that is purely it's a physical address. So in this diagram, if the segmentation paging is not available, after this it goes to physical address. So linear address is converted to physical address after segmentation if paging is not enabled. Let's look about all this mapping from our example or binary pattern point of view. I kept different binary patterns at different levels, but these two are same, so binary patterns will find same. This is logical address which is of 48 bits. So binary pattern will have a 101, 1001, 1001. This is 8 bit. Same patterns I kept over here. For offset, I kept 0001, 0001 bit pattern. So these are 32 bits, 4 byte, and these are the 2 bytes, means 16 bits. So total 48 bits of logical address. Segment translation is carried out. We'll see in next slides how the segment translation is carried out, which converts the 16 bits of 1001 and 0001 sequence of these bytes into some sequence of zeros and 1. And after this segment translation, let's say we will have a 0 double 10, 0 double 10, and so on. This is 32 bits. This is 16 bits, 16 bits, 16 plus 60. Sorry, this is 8 bit. 8 bit, so total 32 bit. So now if paging is enabled, I modified previous diagram to have a better understanding. If PG is enabled, then this address is further divided into a 3 field: directory, page and offset. The directory, in this case, I took as a 8-bit operation. The paging I took as 8-bit and offset I took as a 16-bit. So the first 8-bit goes here as a directory. The next 8-bit pattern goes over here as a page, and next 16-bit goes over here as an offset. Then the page translation step-by-step procedure is performed, and then we will get the physical address. The binary pattern is different: 1011, 1011. This is 16-bit, this is 16-bit, total 32 bits. Segment translation. To understand segment translation, we need to understand the data structures. So this segment translation covers 4 data structures: descriptors, descriptor tables, selectors, and segment registers. Segment register we know very well: the code segment register, data segment register, extra segment registers, those are known as code segment registers. Selectors, which is part of the virtual address we saw in previous slides. The logical address is made of selector and offsets, so those 16 bits are selectors. Let's see descriptor and descriptor tables. Both are same, but this, as the name indicates, this is table. This is known as descriptor table, DT. And descriptor table will contain some or it is having some rows, and this row is having 64 bit in length. The size of each row is 64 bit, means it can accommodate 64 bits. So that entry or the format of fields which store 64 bit, that is known as descriptors. So this descriptor is available over here, and this is this is a table. So each and every descriptor has index value. This is index value 0, this is index value 1, this is index value 2. So we can consider it's offset in the descriptor table or index into a descriptor table. Descriptors are created by compilers, linkers, loaders, or the operating system. We don't need to, means programmers don't need to bother about how the descriptors are created, how the descriptors are managed, and how the descriptors are mapped, or how is it used to create physical address. This is mechanism of segment translation, where the selector is of 16 bit, offset of 32 bit. This is descriptor table, and descriptor table are having index. This is index 0, this is 1, then 3, 2, 3, and so on. So the segment descriptor, as this arrow indicates, the segment descriptor over here, which has index equal to 1. So the value of selector will be 0, 0, 0, 1. So this is binary 0, 0, 0, 1, decimal equivalent to 1. That's why this 1, 0, 0, 0, and 1. If it points to index value 2, so binary it will have a 0, 0, 1, 0. So this is equivalent to 0, 2 into hexadecimal value or decimal value. So the selector value will point to index into a descriptor table. Then you can see over here, from segment descriptor we will get base addresses, and then base addresses and offset will be added together to get linear address. So this length of base address is 32 bit. So we can see over here, this is 16 bit selector, which points to 64 bit segment descriptor, and from 64 bit segment descriptor we will get 32 bit base address. So let's see what is inside of segment descriptor. This is 2 row which is of 32 bit. This is 32 bit and this is also 32 bit, so it's a 64 bit descriptor. So last row we can see there is a segment base. The bits range is 0 to 15. Segment base bit range from 16 to 23. So the 16 to 23 is available over here, and next 24 to 31 means total 32 bits are divided into 3 fields. The first field is available over here, second field is available over here, third field is available over here. And then we can see the segment limit. Segment limit is of 20 bits. first 16 bits are available over here, the next 5 bits are available over here. So that is limit. That is known as segment limit. So from segment descriptor, we will get the 32-bit address. 32-bit address, this is known as base address, which is of 32-bit. Then we will get the offset over here, offset, which is of 32-bit, and this base address and offsets are added together without any shift operation. We will get 32-bit linear address. So addition circuitry is a part of 80386. We can see over here the adder is available over here. Same way, paging units, we will see the adder circuitry is required over there. So this adder will add them together, base address and offset, and it will generate 32-bit linear address. So 32-bit linear address is divided into 3 fields: directory, page and offset. In the next lecture, we will see how this linear address will be converted into a physical address. Let's continue with the other fields of descriptors. We can see the granularity, DPL value, type. This is ones and zeros that we'll see. This is X, O, AVL, that's for security. This is for protection. A is some flag. There are various types of descriptors available, but basically it is categorized under two. The one is for application and another is for the system programs. So application and system programs descriptors are differentiated by this bit. If it is 1, then this descriptor belongs to application program. If it is 0, it belongs to system programs. So this is a characteristic of descriptors, how to differentiate, or the field of descriptor, how to differentiate between application descriptor and segment descriptor. In short, the descriptor table contains descriptor for applications as well as system segments. The limit field of the descriptor defines the size of the segments. When the processor concatenates the two parts of the limit field, it will generate 20-bit values. The processor interprets the limit field in one of the two ways depending on the setting of the granularity bit. If the granular bit is 1, then we can define it's a 1 megabyte. If it is different, then we can say it's a multiple of 4 kilobytes. So whatever the value we will get in 20-bit value, we must have to multiply by 4. Then we will get the actual size of segment. Granularity bit differentiates whether it's a normal or it's a multiple of 4 kilobyte. Type will distinguish between various kind of descriptors. As I told you, there are various types of descriptors, but broadly categorized under two: application descriptor and system program descriptor. But again, in system program descriptor, there are various types available. That's out of scope. We are not going to discuss over here. DPL, that's a privilege level. What kind of privilege level the process has or descriptor has? It is used by the protection mechanism. Means if user wants to access some other descriptors, it is not allowed. But system program wants to access descriptors, they are allowed. So that is defined by this DPL. Segment presence bit. If this bit is 0, the descriptor is not valid. If it is 1, the descriptor is valid. We differentiate valid descriptor and invalid descriptors. Access bit will differentiate whether this descriptor is accessed or not. There are two types of table available. That's a global descriptor table and local descriptor table. A descriptor table is a simply memory array of 8-byte entries. 8 bytes means it's a 64-bit in length that contains descriptors. So this is pictorial diagram of GDT and LDT. Both are similar, but tables are different. Means it occupies different memory space into a memory. This GDTR and LDTR are not part of microprocessor, they are part of memory. So all these descriptors will be stored into memory. This GDTR registers available into a microprocessor which points base address of this GDTR table. Same way, LDTR register available into a microprocessor which points the base address of local descriptor table. Then after we can see this is index 0, n plus 1, n plus 2 and m. Similar way, the local descriptor table. and this is of 64 bit in length. Thank you for watching this video.